Hey, welcome back everyone. I thought I'd do a video and just tell you why I sold my Defiance ETFs and a bunch of other ETFs that had very similar properties. I'm going to explain why. Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You make your own decisions. But some of this, when you look at this stuff and you do the calculations on your own, you might find that some of these funds, and not just Defiance funds, but other ones, are not really that good for you. I'll explain why here. And I'll show you some graphs, and I'm going to tell you how this turned out for me and why I ditched these things. Ultimately, before I get started, the goal of investing for me, period, is to increase my wealth, period. I don't care how I get it, whether it's in the forms of dividends or earnings from the sale of cryptocurrency or stocks or whatever. But my goal is to increase my wealth. I don't just want yield. Because if yield comes at the cost of my capital, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not doing any good for me, or it's doing less good for me, or it's destroying my wealth. And I'll show you an example of this. Okay, here's QQQY. Let's jump right in. It has about a 40% yield. I'm going to up that and just say, let's just say we can do 45% per year. To just do some calculations really quickly. About every 4 months, that's a 15% yield if we assume the annual rate is 45%. So I'm just going to assume QQQY can get to a 45% just to make some math easy. Give it the benefit of the doubt and say 15% every 4 months, okay? So let's go look at a 4-month chart of QQQY. This is what it looks like. Now, for me to put money in at the beginning of this 4-month period, it has eroded in value by about 12%. So this is called NAV erosion, where my capital, my money is losing value. I put $1,000 in and I have less than that after 4 months. I'm down 12%. Okay. In that period of time, if we assume that QQQY is a 45% annual yield, which is higher than what it's currently advertising, but let's just assume that means in a 4-month period, it would return 15% in dividends. So I'm down 12% in NAV erosion. I'm up 15% in dividends. So, okay, that's a plus 3%, gain. It's a plus 3% there. That's a 3% gain in what I have in QQQY. If, and this is a big if I'm in a tax-free situation like a Roth IRA, that's when it matters. Okay, that's when I'd get the 3%. But guess what? I'm not. So here's my reality. I pay taxes on my dividends, and I'm in a pretty high tax rate. I'm in the highest federal bracket, and I've got some state taxes to pay too, and my lunch is on its way. This is awesome. Okay, so 15% dividends coming in. I don't get to keep all that. I keep about $8 and change, from 8.5%, let's just say 8.5%. The rest goes to the IRS and the state tax authority, right? So I don't keep the full 15%. I keep like 8.5%. So now let's look at this equation. I'm down 12% in NAV and I'm only up 8.5%. Guess what? My wealth in QQQY is minus 3.5% over the course of 4 months. Minus 3.5%. It's got a great yield. But the NAV erosion took that all away. I'm actually in the hole. I've lost money being in QQQY. And this would get worse over the course of a year. I'd be down like 13.5% if this were to continue. It's like this. Well, no, 10.5%, because we're doing it here 4-month stint. So you got 3 of them. So 10.5%. 10.5% is what I would lose each year staying in QQQY, assuming the pattern stays the same for the charts. And it may not. I want to give, it may not. I'm just going to assume it is for this example. But this is why I got the hell out of QQQY and Defiance ETFs. JEPY and IWMY look very similar. Just run the numbers yourself. Do this calculation on your own. Are your dividends taxable? If so, at what rate are you taxed, state and federal? Subtract that from what you're actually getting. Compare that to the NAV erosion that's happening in the Defiance funds, and you make a decision. Is it a good deal for you? Like I said in this example, the best case scenario in a tax-free Roth IRA, you'd be able to get like 10.5% growth per year, which that's solid, right? That's solid. Assuming this holds up, that's solid, 10.5% per year. But it's not outstanding. It doesn't beat Microsoft. It doesn't beat a lot of things that are out there. So, but if you're in a taxable situation, well, the game changes. You could have it be just a zero sum game, which I talked about in the Jeep ride. And I actually had the wrong numbers for QQQY. I was actually using numbers from a different ETF that I sold where I was coming out even, break even. QQQY is a loss to me. It's like my net worth in terms of my holdings in QQQY went down. And I'm not cool with that. The only reason I invest in anything at all is to increase my wealth. There is no point in putting my money into assets that depreciate over time. Why would I do this? That's stupid. That's how you go poor. It's like all your money gets eaten away. The only people making money in my situation are the IRS and the state tax authority, not me. I'm not growing my wealth. And I don't mean to rag on Defiance. Basically, I sold off a bunch of ETFs. A lot of them were covered call ETFs. I think it's probably just an intrinsic problem with covered call ETFs, honestly. I sold off TLTW, QRMI, XRMI, HYGW, LQDW, and a couple others. And I was like, yeah, same deal. I'm either breaking even or barely coming ahead with a ridiculously low yield, net yield, where I'd be better off just investing in McDonald's, or I'm in the hole. I'm in the red. I'm in the negative. My net worth has decreased because of this. I don't want to play this game. I'm not doing it. I don't care how high the yield goes. It doesn't matter if somebody offers a 200% yield, for example. If NAV erosion is so bad that it's eating away all the benefits of that after taxes, do not sign me up. I'm out. So anyway, so Defiance, they're not bad people, right? They're putting out a product that has a good yield. That's awesome. But probably because of the way the fund is designed, NAV erosion has to occur. And so if you're not in a tax-free situation, the story for you, the end result for you is very different. So I'm just saying, check these numbers yourself. And don't hang your retirement dreams up on high yield dividend ETFs. You got to do the math. Like if people are relying, for example, on Tesla to retire, retirement is going to end up in tears because it's not it's not. Look at NAV erosion in Tesla. It's crazy. In OARC, retirement dreams are going to be crushed by a lot of these high yield dividend ETFs that everybody, including myself, we looked at and we went, this is amazing. This is great. This is a game changer. This can offer retirement dreams to people who thought they could never retire. Guess what? It's not going to be for a lot of people. Unless they're in a tax-free Roth IRA, the game is very different. So do this. I urge you to take a look at your Defiance funds, at all the other ETFs that you're in, and actually look at the NAV erosion versus what you're getting in terms of dividend or distribution, and do the calculations yourself. Do the math yourself and see how much you're coming ahead, or are you breaking even, or are you in the hole? You guys make the decision. This is just kind of a public service announcement. I said before my Jeep drive, I've kind of become disillusioned with high yield dividend ETFs. I feel like we were sold a pipe dream, and that's really too bad. And I hope to be proven wrong by funds that really operate successfully in the long run. But I'm going to wait to see till after the bull run, where I have 12 to 18 months worth of chart data to look at and really evaluate. All right, that's it for this video. You guys take care.